But let's move on now. So the Prime Minister's Indian Arrival Day message. You know, last year he had one of the worst. Well, I think he may have even gone worse than that. Let's read. Prime Minister Keith Christopher Rowley. We cannot move forward with divisiveness. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is urging citizens to understand that this country cannot confront the coming challenges with divisiveness and misinformation designed to create political mischief and fears. Now this is a celebration of Indian Arrival Day. 1845. 227 Indians from India took a journey with fear, not knowing where they would end up, if they would survive, brave, come into a new country and started to build it from the bottom up. And this man start off a message. This clown y'all elected, this divisive, disgusting, double-stuffed Oreo, start off by talking about divisiveness. Why? You're implying what? That Indian people dividing because they don't like you, because they don't agree with you, because you are heartless, because Indian people do not like teachers who have sex with girls of school age. They don't like pathological liars. They don't like a corruption web. They don't like people who do not fill out the Integrity in Public Life Act form. They do not like people who put their lawyers in charge of the oil sector, collapse it, shut down Petrotrain, and treat workers with disrespect. They don't like people who are misogynistic and disgusting and believe that men must groom women. That's what you're saying? Indian people are divisive because they agree with everybody else that you are the worst human being to ever ascend to Prime Minister? Divisive because they don't agree with you? You who discriminate against Indian people, open fire discrimination, geographical discrimination in all the areas where East Indian people live. Let's go on to him. He continues. Rowley, leave him there. Leave this clown there. He continues to admire the entire community for their ethic, their work ethic, their thrift, and varied traditions. Really? So Indian people, they just work hard and they're thrifty. That's what you admire about Indian? Not the bright, the brilliant, the creativity, their business sense, their family, the community, their adherence to their religious practices, their building and their patriotism, their stamp of Trinidad and Tobago, their pride in our sportsmen and sportswomen, their ability to build this country, to move forward, to unite with Africans, to bring change across Trinidad and Tobago. You ain't like none of that. You find Indian thrifty. He continued. This is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We have maintained institutions in Trinidad and Tobago of political liberty and continue to work towards social equality and racial fraternity. Who is working? You have carried Trinidad and Tobago so far backward on the racial divide that we may never even recover. Every word out of your mouth, every policy you implement, the distribution of resources shows that you don't like Indian. You sick human being. And you come in to spew these words? You want harmony and unity? Resign. Resign from the office of Prime Minister that you stole through lies of Emailgate and continued lying and the hijacking of the EBC. And we have political liberty. We have no political liberty. People in Laventine beat them, vote 10,000 to smell tutu water for 8 months. You call that political liberty? You have not built a school. You cut gate funding. You cut cost at MIC. You are keeping our young people in a state of flux with no jobs, no education, no independence of thought. All they could say is Bali say. You play banana politics, monkey politics, and black man versus Indian, dividing this country, and then we have political liberty. You who put a speaker with blue hair to allow you to scream and shout at others and do what you want, but suspend Saddam Hussein, a strong, blessed Muslim, out of the parliament for a week. You talking about political liberty? You are a total complete fraud, sir. He continued. In January 1955, he indicated that Eric Williams is on record back in January 1955 as stating, every step in the education of Indians is a step in the production of that well-informed body of citizens on which democracy depends. Oh, you took that quote from Eric Williams? That is all. You didn't take the recalcitrant minority this time. You didn't take in 1956 when election called and he realized that white people were joining with the Indians in the opposition there. That he went into Woodford Square and created the initial divide to tell African people they must vote PNM. No matter if PNM do them anything, that black people, black pride is PNM. And that the white people and the Indians, that was the enemy. You didn't talk about that speech in 1956. You didn't talk about how he discriminated, just like you and your PNM, across the country against Indian people. You didn't talk about it for 30 years. There was no Hindu in the government or the cabinet from 1956 to 86, any PNM. They did not put one Hindu in the cabinet. You didn't talk about that. That is called equity. That is tolerance. That is respect and love. You don't even know your own PNM sickening history. And one thing PNM did, you see what Rowley admitted there? That Dr. Williams said, every step in the education of Indians is a step in the production of that well-informed body of citizens on which democracy depends. You see, back in those times, Indian people were mostly illiterate cane farmers. Still back then. The scholars in Trinidad and Tobago, under that colonial system with the Legislative Council coming, were African people. Scholars were African, Afro-Trinbagonians. But after 30 years of PNM policy, that flipped. Because the Indians took care, realizing that they would never get political power. And Indian groups, Indian families, Indian religion, Hindu religion, Muslim religion, they realized that education was the key. The Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha and other groups started to put schools, you call them cowsheds. And now, for the last 30 years, when you see doctors graduate, majority is Indian. You see lawyers graduate, majority is Indian. You see business and conglomerate and businesses opening up is Indian. Because they did not have the yoke of the PNM to hold them back. And when you look at my black brothers and sisters now, who were the scholars, you are seeing in Labrador and Tobago the lowest SEA results, the lowest CAPE certification. You are seeing across the board that the majority of those who are struggling in the education system to get a piece of the pie, and this PNM policy to leave them alone and not support them. When in 2017, 810 children got 0 in SEA. 810 were Afro-Trinbagonian. After that, when I was on the radio, they stopped giving out that statistic. Now you change scholarship to bursaries rather than to get back to basics, where the Africans could compete in academia with the Indian brothers and sisters. Do not get carried away and be jealous of others who have worked hard and put the emphasis, their parents and their discipline on the books, where Dr. Williams said the education is in the books. But then he took education away from the children, just like you. You cut GATE from 726 million under Kamla to 300 million. You cut funding to COSTAT, MIC, MIT, UTT, all the across the board, sport, culture. And then you come to talk about Williams said to educate Indian. Indian educate Indian without PNM help. That's why them going good. We must remove PNM off of the backs of black people so that they could then get back to the heights of education and brilliance in the masses as they used to be. So you want to save Trinidad and Tobago? Resign and get rid of the PNM out of Trinidad and Tobago, out of black people's life. Rowley continued, the Prime Minister reiterated that this country is armed with resilient people who have overcome obstacles and blockages in the past. As such, I have no doubt that citizens will not allow any disruption or destruction of our social fabric. Yes, I'm glad you have no doubt, because you know what, sir? You are the destruction of the social fabric. You are dividing and destroying this country, and the people are resilient. And just like in 1922, 1962, 1971, 1970, 1986, and 2010, the people will remove the blockage, and the blockage is you. The darkness is you. The divisiveness is you. The evil is you. The people will remove you from labor, from teachers, from workers, Indian, African, Hindu, Muslim, Rastafari, Orisha, Baptist, Christian, Catholic. All will remove you, because you are a disgrace to this country.